Donald Trump not protecting you, but he wants to protect, well, Andrew Tate, an accused sex trafficker. Put him up. Full mass. Isn't this something? The White House has intervened on behalf of accused sex trafficker Andrew Tate during a federal investigation. Tate has faced allegations of sex trafficking women in 3 separate countries. Quote, "The Tates will be free. Trump is the president. The good old days are back." End quote. Tate posted on X before the trip in February, one of the many times he has sung the president's praises to his fans. But when the Tate brothers arrived by private plane in Fort Lauderdale, they immediately found themselves in the crosshairs of law enforcement once more, as Customs and Border Protection officials seized their electronic devices. This time, they had a powerful ally come to their aid. Behind the scenes, the White House decided to intervene on behalf of the accused sex trafficker. Interviews and records reviewed by ProPublica show a White House official told senior Department of Homeland Security officials to return those devices to the brothers several days after they were seized. The official who delivered the message, Paul Ingracia, is a lawyer who previously represented the Tate brothers before joining the White House, where he was working as the Department of Homeland Security liaison. Talk about having an inside man. In his written request, a copy of which was reviewed by ProPublica, Ingracia chided authorities for taking the action, saying the seizure of the Tate's devices was not a good use of time or resources. The request to return the electronics to the Tates, he emphasized, was coming from the White House, which means Donald Trump. Okay? That's what that means. There's more. The intervention on behalf of Tate and his brother, Tristan, caused alarm among DHS officials. Let me pause on that point. There's been a lot of things that should cause alarm with officials at the Department of Homeland Security. Trump has done more than enough to at some point cause significant alarm with anyone who's employed there. But for some reason, this thing, if you weren't already alarmed, this action caused alarm. With the officials of DHS, that they could be interfering with a federal investigation if they followed through with the instruction, according to interviews and screenshots of contemporaneous communications between officials. One official who was involved and spoke on the condition of anonymity to avoid facing retribution said they were disgusted by the request, raisins, and the high-handed expectation of complicity, end quote. Quote, "It was so offensive to what we're all here to do, to uphold the law and protect the American people." The person said, quote, "We don't want to be seen as handing out favors." But you are. I appreciate you all going on record under the condition of anonymity. You're not handing out favors when you turn the other way and there's a guy who you believe has committed himself to the industry of human sex trafficking, slavery, sexual exploitation, assault, etc. What you're doing is deciding to not advocate for the victims and by proxy, the damage that this kind of enterprise creates throughout this nation and others. It's unclear why law enforcement wanted to examine the devices, what their analysis found, or if the intervention hindered the investigation. The White House and DHS declined to answer questions about the incident. One of the individuals said that there was this disgust, not just because of the order, but the high-handed, the level of anticipated um, complicit action that should come because of this White House order. Why would he not believe that, sir or madam? Why would Trump not believe that you all would do exactly what he says when he says it, even if he sends a surrogate? Because that's how it's been with everyone else. All right, Jordan, thoughts here.
Yeah, isn't this the Republican crusade cracking down on alleged human trafficking? So why would they intervene on an alleged human trafficker's behalf? Well, it's clear it's because this person supports Trump. You can do whatever you want if you support Trump. He'll pardon you. You could storm the Capitol. You could try to overthrow the government on his behalf. You're fine. You can commit multiple offenses afterward. They're going to turn a blind eye to it. And here you have something that the Republicans and conservatives all across this country have pretended was their number one issue for years. And you have somebody accused of doing it. Suddenly, because he publicly supported Trump, it's okay. Nothing matters. We've talked on this show for years about a two-tiered justice system. I don't even know what you would call it. It's like a bifurcated. Here's a justice system if you're liberal, and then here's one if you're obviously wealthy, powerful, and in the elite, but also if you're conservative. How many people committed a fraud, Ponzi schemes has he pardoned because they donated or family members donated to his campaign? The list goes on, and this is just another example. But at a time like this, we're having this national conversation on Jeffrey Epstein and the Epstein files. Everyone wants justice. Now we learn about this. Give me a break. I don't know how anyone can have any faith in our legal system or in our government with all of these examples of them not caring simply because the person supports Trump.
Yeah. And you know what, Jordan? I think about something, brother. I think about how there are certain demographics, people of color, individuals below a certain socioeconomic medium, who are targeted by law enforcement, who receive the longest sentences. They are over-policed, and sometimes they are in jail because of pure corruption of law enforcement. And we would have the greatest incentive to kiss Trump's ass in order to be protected. But guess what? That's not happening. The people who are in those demographics, we're the ones who are holding the moral core, saying, this individual is a tyrant. He's not your friend, he's not your champion. So you see, the rich, they're willing to leverage their belief system in order to gain protection and everything else. You don't see that happening with individuals they would consider to be immoral or criminal. That's not happening. Individuals who would stand to benefit the most, they're not doing this game with Donald Trump. What say you to that, dear brother?
I totally agree. I I don't know how we go forward from here. I think with all of this kind of stuff. I mean, there's so many other, like, even just since we've started this show, I just saw another headline that the Coast Guard is no longer going to classify swastikas as hate symbols. I mean, think about how far off the deep end we are now, where people who publicly express their hatred for minorities, for Jewish people, for people of color, all of us, like those people are welcome in the military, and the Trump administration does not care. The amount of work it's going to take to try to get us back to even closer to normal is going to take years because they are tearing things down so fast. I don't want to be too pessimistic, but I don't know what this country is going to look like in a couple of years. It was already plagued by these stains of bigotry and hatred in this country, and we are accelerating them. We are empowering them. You thought it was bad during the first Trump administration. Good Lord, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. It's going to take a lot of work, and I think it's going to be an internal conflict for all of us to not lose faith in this national project."
I have a hopeful view, and here's why. Sometimes it takes a man or woman to come to the brink of utter chaos to appreciate peace. And I believe that's what this nation is going through right now. And I believe there will be a great reckoning and great awakening to this kind of dogmatic, evil, and corrupt leadership style. All right, we'll bring updates as they come.